Hello and welcome to Tabitha's Glass Emporium YouTube channel. I'm Tabitha and this is my workshop, a glass studio based in Croatia. I'm an English lady who's been living here for a year and a half, doing glass since I got here. I've been working with glass for only 2 years, so I'm fairly new to it, but I love it and I've enjoyed so much doing it. My main focus these days is making Murrine. I hope some of you may have come across my Murrine. I'm loving making it and I use it a lot in my own work, plus I sell it to people around the world from my website www.glassbytabitha.com. My YouTube channel is dedicated to showing you how to make some quick and easy products using Murrine that you can then sell or just keep for yourselves. I will give you firing schedules that I use, but I'm not a technical expert. There are many amazing teachers out there with 1,000 times more experience than me who do classes on and ebooks which give you so much technical detail. Their experience is much greater than mine, and I would rather point you in the direction of Paul Tarlow's amazing ebooks or Bob Leatherbarrow's amazing ebooks to get your technical experience from. I'm more about fun, nice, easy projects that you can have a go at home. So the first one I did an amazing lantern that people like. Let me find it. It is here. Which I said was really simple. I really wanted to go to the shops and buy another lantern that we could do, but unfortunately they didn't have any more in stock. So what I want to show is you have to do one simple panel of this lantern. So to start with, I'd normally wear a mask when using powders, but you wouldn't be able to hear me, so I'm not going to, but you should be putting on your mask if you're wearing powders, and obviously goggles when cutting any glass. The powders I'm using are not reactive ones. I've chosen specifically not to use reactive ones. So I've got Peapod Green, 312 for those who like codes, a light aventurine green, which I love to add highlights to any kind of landscape work I'm doing, 1412, and just a dusty blue 208 for the sky. So I literally very simply start by taking the Peapod Green into the sifter. These are your tea sifters, everyone. They're very easy. You can get them very cheaply at most places. And if you hold them at the end and tap, you can get a nice covering. And it's as simple as that. Now, as you see, I've got paper underneath. Put it to one side, and you can reclaim that back into the pot. And I'd normally suggest reclaiming after each layer. I'm not going to do it today because I want to be quick and show you a quick, easy tutorial. So I'm going to be a bit wasteful. Then I take the light aventurine green and I literally do a sort of random dusting over the top to add a bit of texture here and there, but it's not a full covering, it's just a feeling. And then obviously each time I want to knock my sifter out to get rid of any other glass. None of these are reactive glasses. I've specifically chosen glasses that don't react. So at least if I do have any excess, they're not going to contaminate the jars, but I'm always careful. And then again for the sky. Now, if you wanted to be super careful at this point, you could fire it. You could do a very light tack fuse to stick that down. You could also use hairspray on it to keep it there. You just do a light dusting of hairspray over the top. But to be honest, for these I never have. For that or any of the other products, I've not bothered. So at this point in time, I'm going to lay stringers. Now I have an enormous box of stringers here, various different colours, mostly greens on top because I've recently pulled greens. This is a moment where it's good to use glasses because when you're breaking these, they can ping up. And I just take stringers and I lay them down. Now you've got to be careful around the rim if you're doing a lantern. The first thing you're going to do is take out the original glass and measure it up and cut it to size. But in these bits, you don't really want texture because otherwise it doesn't fit back in the lantern so well. So just make sure you're not getting too close to the edge of the glass. And then all I'm doing Just putting them down like this. Some shorter, some longer. And away you go. What I like to try and do is also use, I've got me there at the bottom of my box, some of slightly different colours. So I'll put a slightly shorter red in there. In fact, I'm going to just use the end of that. I wouldn't mind one other colour. Because grasses come in lots of colours, they're not just green. If you have a look out there, you will see they're in masses of different colours. So that is that. That is all the strings. Now I've taken my poppies and I'm just going to place these on very haphazardly. I'm not thinking about it too much, I'm not being too precise. I'm not saying, oh, there's a stalk, I need to add a poppy to it. I'm just putting them on as and when. As you can see, there's some areas I'm moving the powder a little bit, but not enough to really make a difference. The powder, if you have a look on the lantern, is so light that it's really not going to make much difference if there's a little bit of movement in it. If you want to think about perspective, you might want to put larger ones at the front and smaller ones at the back. But on a small piece like this, it doesn't really matter so much. It's a bit too big, but as I said, it doesn't matter. And I might just try and find a little one down the bottom here and put it sort of up in the sky. Now you could just leave it like that, but I feel that's a little bit one-dimensional. So then I like to add a bit of fritz. Now the fritz I'm using today in reds, I use the deep red, 224, the tomato red, 24, and the red opal, 124, in medium and fine fritz. Now I start with the medium. And literally I take a pinch, and with the medium frit I tend to scatter it in the foreground and a little bit of each, and I literally mean a pinch of each. This one has just pinched me back. And then the same with the fine, going more into the sort of background a little bit. Not too much, I'm even putting less than a pinch of these down. Bit in the foreground as well, just to blend it. And then the last bit of dimension I put in is some medium greens. Now I use a mixture of transparent and opals for these. I've literally picked out anything I've had in the box. So this one's a light green 1107, and I'm putting this more at the bottom to kind of medium, for the foreground to kind of medium. This is a spring green transparent 1426. I always tend to put a little bit of light aventurine medium frit. I love this glass so much, it just adds such a lovely dimension to projects. As you see again, I'm not putting anything right too close to the edge. In fact, I would say that this string is probably a little bit close to the edge, and I will move it in ever so slightly. A little bit of this. So that's the light aventurine 1412, and this is olive 141141. It's just again adding a little bit of extra dimension. You can put a little bit of green into the sky. And that is it. That is this one finished. It's as simple as that. It will go in on a tack fuse. I'll give you the fusing schedules in a bit, and once they come out, we'll have a look what they look like. Hi, so we had a look at how to do the lanterns, and I wanted to show you another great little project, exactly the same, but to do fridge magnets. We do a lot of fridge magnets here. We do little ones like this, very simple. We'd put them in cards, and on the back is a fridge magnet. Then you can sell them like that, and they're a greeting card plus fridge magnets, and people love to get 2 in 1. We also do little landscapes like this, but what I haven't done before is little poppies. So I thought the great thing to use is the edge of a wobbly bit of glass. So it's a nice way to use up edges. These happen to be a little bit of irid on them. I've cleaned them already. As you know, you should always clean your glass before you use them. Again, I'm not going to reclaim powder because I want to do it quite quickly. This is even quicker. We're just going to, I would say, slap it on. Sometimes I have a little bit of space in the kiln. I just want to get something in to fill it up, and I think, oh, quickly do one of those landscapes. I want them to take no time at all. Don't want to think about it. I'm using as much scraps as I have, and a project that someone might buy. So I'm putting a little bit on the sky. I'm not worrying too much. It's got that nice irid bit behind it, so I kind of want that to come through a little if I can. So that's that. Now getting my stringers. I'm wearing my safety goggles, and as before, I didn't wear a mask when I was doing powders because I need you guys to be able to hear me, but you should all be wearing your masks. It's really important to wear glasses. The other day I was dealing with this big bag of stringers and I pushed it down and it pinged up and a piece hit my glasses, and if I hadn't been wearing them it would have gone straight in my eye. Oh, that's gone a bit wonky. But I'm not going to worry about the powder underneath. It's not going to make a difference. As before, I always like to get a little bit of other colour. And you can do kind of four of these at once. You can see how quick they are to do. There we go, that's that done. I'm going to put the poppies on. Not many, I don't want to use a lot. They're not, Murrine isn't cheap. Although our Murrine, a lot cheaper than others out there for these kind of patterns. You might want to check us out. glassbytabitha.com. We ship all over the world at very reasonable prices. And we sell the stringers as well. So Murrine wise, I think 4 is enough. You might even only want to use kind of 3 or 2. And use more of the frit. Again, tiny bit of the different frits. This time I'm going to use very little. It's not like I'm going to sell these for an awful lot of money. And then greens wise, I'm not going to use very much at all. I might just put this little bit of aventurine on the bottom and maybe a bit of dark forest just to... And I just think this one maybe needs a tiny bit more up in the sky like that. And that is your job done. How quick was that? Under 5 minutes. The last project I wanted to show you was how to make a bowl using the same thing. I got so many likes for my bowl on Facebook. I wanted to share how I made it, because it's a really simple but effective project. Doesn't use a lot of glass, and I think it's stunning. With that one I used a 30cm circle, which is about 12 inches. With this one I am using a smaller 20cm circle, which is 8 inches. So it's starting in the middle. As you see on it, we're imagining this is the ground and the poppies are growing out of the ground. So in the middle is green and to the edge is blue. So I'm starting again with my pea pod 312. You should be wearing your masks when you're doing powder. I'm not, so you can hear me. And I'm putting that in the middle. I'm not worrying too much getting it totally accurate. Want a good covering, but that's enough. Again, I'm using my Murrine 1412 powder and just doing a bit of random splodging, for want of a better word. Cleaning that off. And then my dusty blue 208, all non-reactive glass, as I said before, around the outside. And this one, because everything else is in the middle, I can reclaim my dusty blue, which is good. It's always good to reclaim your glass in between. Good coat of that all over. I'm just going to put this to one side so I can reclaim. Ooh. Right, now. These are great, by the way. It's something to raise your projects up. I got this from a DIY store, hardware store. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be for, but they're great for putting bits of glass on, just so you can get at them easily. So again, you could always tack fuse that now if you wanted to make sure that you're not going to move the powders around. I don't think you need to. I think you can just get on and do it from there. And it will move around a bit, but it just adds to the whole feel of the project. Or you could put hairspray on to hold it. So after that, I want to add some kind of coarse frit in the middle. I've just picked off anything I had on the shelf. I'm not even sure these are the colours I used before, but probably because they're close to hand. This is some emerald green. Some pine green. All these are transparents, but I quite like having transparents because I like the light coming through. I'm using my favourite again, light aventurine. But you could really use any kind of coloured greens you have. So that's a little pile in the middle. I know a piece has gone out here, not really bothered. I might move it just because right now it's going to be easier. You can see there's a bit of movement. I'm just going to poke that all back in. It's not going to make a difference. So then onto my stringers. Now this project's slightly bigger, so I've got some thicker stringers which I'm going to cut with either mosaic clippers if you have them, or with these. Just going to cut some lengths, not worrying about making them all the same. It's a bit long. And just putting them down like the spokes of a wheel. That one. Oh, that one's a bit long, but I just push it into the middle a bit. I've pulled out some nice coloured brown ones. Putting some of those down, some reds. It's too long. And as you see, I'm not really thinking about it too much. I'm literally just getting them down. What you want is a good covering. You want a fair amount. You want to be generous with the stringers and generous with. I'm sure if you wanted to be very, very accurate and get all of them in exactly the right spots, then you could use less and have them, the hands of a clock. This could make a beautiful clock. But for me, for my projects, I'm a bit more haphazard. Oh, that's got nice inside. No, I want to have them at different heights, so maybe a piece here going into the blue, and then some shorter pieces. Have a look what else I have. And again, as you can see, using thinner and thicker stringers, whatever I have to hand. Had someone recently who only wanted thin stringers for their projects, which I understand. Thin stringers can be great for projects, but thick can add some depth too. And that one's gone a little bit floaty away, but bring it back. As you see, some of the strings are crossing each other, but that's all good. Now you can get things like this, cut them down, make sure you're wearing safety goggles, and they can add a nice feature piece. And really lovely, interesting piece with lots of variegated colours in it. I'm not so sure it's so right for this. Oh, well, that works. These are hollows, which I pull right at the end sometimes. As long as they've got a little bit of colour in, they can look great, particularly on a tack fuse. Okay. So you can see around here there are little shards of where I've cut them up. I'm not going to worry about those, they're just going to add to the texture of the project. Just have a bit going up into the sky there. I think we could do Oop. Okay, little shards I'm not going to worry about, big pieces like that I will take off. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So again now, after doing that, I'm going to add the poppies. Putting them on totally randomly, not worrying at all. Not thinking each stem has to have a poppy attached to it. I just want a good, nice covering. This bowl is celebrating poppies. I have a thing that I think I might do a sale of poppy items and give 20% to the Royal British Legion. That's a charity that I support wholeheartedly. I'm not doing this on a lazy Susan, but they can be great to do projects on so you can turn and see it from different angles. IKEA do a fantastically good one, which is very reasonable. Or as I say, cheap like the budgie. Okay, there's a bit of broken Murrine there. Don't love that, so I think I will take that out. Any of you who've cut Murrine know that, oh, it's kind of now gone underneath, so I think I'll probably just try and cover it up. I don't want to move it around too much. Plus this one is sort of tipped over on its side. I just want to push it down flat. But apart from things like that, I'm not going to worry. That one's a bit on its side, but I wouldn't have probably bothered to push it down, except that I might as well. Putting some up in the blue sky, always a nice... I'm going to move that stringer off it just because the poppies are the most beautiful part and you might as well have them showing. So I think that's about enough of that, and now we do exactly what I've done before. So we've got the red opal, medium frit, the tomato red medium frit, the deep red medium frit, and then the deep red fine frit. Up into the sky. Tomato red fine frit. Oopsie, little accident. And then the tomato, the opal red. And then we're going to add some more of the greens. This is a glass I particularly like. This one is the Mint Adventurine Green, which is a variegated frit. And I think these are lovely to use for landscapes. I use them a lot, both the brown one and the green one. I didn't put them in the other project because I hadn't picked it up. But I hadn't even put it in my bowl, but I suddenly remembered I had it. I thought, oh, that'd be nice to use. And then a bit of olive green. Deep forest, smaller light aventurine. I think that's probably enough. The last thing I do with this one, to give the sky a bit of something as well, is I've got some light aquamarine blue, 1408, medium frit, and I'm literally just going to sprinkle it around the edge of the sky. Don't have to do this, but I did it in this bowl, and I do like the effect. There we go. And there it is, all ready and done, ready to go in the kiln. So just before this, you'll have seen I shared the firing schedules with you. They went in the kiln and came out this morning. So this is how they turned out. So the little panel we did, which was one for a lantern. There's not much colour in the sky. Could have maybe gone a little darker on the powder, used a bit more, or you could use a darker colour if you wanted to. But for me, I like this effect. The two little fridge magnets are great. This one, I managed to catch it with my finger and pull the powder out of the way. I don't mind. You know, for a little tiny thing that I'm going to sell for a few dollars, a few pounds, a few euros, it is what it is. I think it's great. I think someone would love to have that on their fridge. The other one came out really nicely. And those are good little earners. And then the bowl, if I'm honest about it, I think maybe these two bits are a bit thick. I think everything else is fantastic in it. I'm really looking forward to seeing it slumped. I still really love this detail around the outside. And I think it's looking amazing. So now I'm going to put them in for to slump, and we'll see how they turn out. So here are our finished products. I've put all of them out, everything I've made recently with the poppies, including the project ones. So for starters, there's a lantern. Fantastic, 4 little panels. Then our fridge magnets, I put them in cards, so they can be greeting cards as well as fridge magnets. The bowl I'm so pleased with, even the underside of it is beautiful and shiny. I also made at the same time, because I wanted to give it a go, a wavy scene that I slumped on a wave mould. Which I think came out incredibly nicely. And then we have the original bowl. They're such great projects for using minimal amounts of glass with an enormous impact and effect for your end product. I'm so happy how they came out. I hope you give it a go, try them out and see whether you like them.